Why does God keep testing you in the same exact area over and over until it feels like a cycle you can't escape? It's not random and it's not punishment. It's refinement. The truth is, God will keep sending you the same kind of storm until it no longer shakes you, until what used to trigger fear now triggers faith, until the part of you that's weak finally bows to his strength. You're being tested where you're most vulnerable because that's the exact place God wants to turn into your greatest testimony. If you've noticed the same patterns repeating, relational breakdowns, financial pressure, emotional instability, it's not just coincidence, it's divine instruction. He's showing you where the cracks in your foundation are because he won't build destiny on what can't hold the weight of his purpose. Think of Abraham, tested again and again in faith, especially regarding his son Isaac, because the promise required a man who could trust even when the knife was in his hand. God could have chosen anyone, but he needed someone who wouldn't flinch when obedience felt like sacrifice. And you're in the fire because something precious is being forged. But here's the part nobody tells you. Most people fail the test because they pray for escape rather than endurance. They ask God to remove the discomfort instead of asking what he's trying to reveal through it. That's why the same trial keeps showing up dressed in different clothes. Same root, new disguise. James 1:3 says the testing of your faith produces perseverance, but perseverance isn't passive, it's warfare. You can't rebuke what God sent to refine you. Sometimes the very thing you're trying to pray away is the key to your spiritual maturity. God is not cruel, but he is consistent. He will not graduate you from a lesson you refuse to learn. Some of the strongest anointings come with the most repeated battles because the enemy guards what you're called to conquer. He knows that once you overcome in that one area, your obedience will break chains for generations. That's why it's so targeted. That's why the temptation always looks familiar. That's why the people who hurt you feel eerily similar. The enemy recycles the same bait, but God is using it to train your discernment. You ask why he allows the door to close again. Maybe it's because you still haven't learned to trust him when the hallway is silent. Maybe you're still relying on your own understanding when Proverbs 3:5 commands the opposite. And here's something shocking. Sometimes the repeated test is God's mercy. He's trying to stop you from building your life on unhealed places. He's giving you chance after chance to surrender what you keep holding on to. That hidden bitterness, that secret pride, that silent fear of being unseen, it all comes to the surface when he tests you. And if you're honest, you know the test isn't just external, it's internal. It's not just about what's happening around you, it's about what's ruling inside of you. The Israelites wandered 40 years in circles, not because God was slow, but because their hearts were stubborn. Deuteronomy 8 verse 2 says God tested them to know what was in their hearts. That's what he's doing with you. He's not ignoring you. He's watching closely, not for perfection, but for surrender. Every delay, every denied prayer, every silent season is a question from God. Will you trust me now? Will you worship me even here? Will you obey me even when it hurts? Until your answer is yes without hesitation, the test remains. And let's be clear, it's not because he needs the answer. It's because you do. Until you see that area the way God sees it, it remains a stronghold. And strongholds don't break with time, they break with truth. That's why John 8:32 says the truth sets you free. Not positive thinking, not avoidance, not distraction. Truth, the hard, holy truth that God wants to be Lord over the very area you keep trying to control. So if you feel like you're in a loop, maybe it's because God is giving you another shot to pass what you failed last time. Not to shame you, but to promote you. Because the next level of your calling can't afford the version of you that keeps running when it gets hard. You're asking God for elevation, but he's asking you for endurance. You're pleading for breakthrough, but he's waiting for obedience. The test keeps coming because your future depends on how you respond. Will you keep repeating, or will you finally overcome? Will you keep blaming the devil, or will you start asking God what he's after in you? Because here's the truth. God doesn't waste tests. And he doesn't keep them going out of cruelty. He keeps them going out of covenant. Because he loves you too much to let you walk into promise with a fractured spirit. So next time you find yourself back in that same painful place, don't say, "Not this again." Say, "God, what are you trying to heal in me?" Because when you pass this test, it doesn't just shift your story, it silences the enemy, glorifies God, and sets the stage for everything he's been preparing behind the scenes.